Any hobby that I've ever really had, for the most part, has always originated around water. It just covers such a percentage of the earth. It really can just take you anywhere.
There's just something really cool about being out there and like moving across the water by wind power. It's a cool way to see the Great Lakes in the world. A few years back, we realized how we were meeting more people on our travels, that we're doing it longer and longer.
How do they pull off taking that much time, or how are they moving about and getting to these remote spots? And it's like a very common thing seems to be people are doing it via boat. Just seeing how people are managing that and making that work, it's really been my inspiration. It gave me that idea initially, and I think we could do this, and that would be an economical and a really fun way to do it. We bought the boat 2 years ago, so that would have been August 17, and we bought it in Ontario, Canada, and that's just over on the eastern side of Lake Huron. It's a Bayfield 40 is the technical term, and this was the largest of the lot that they made, and they only made 50 of these.
We named her Macushla, which was her original name. It's Old Gaelic, and it roughly translates to the pulse of my heart.
When we got it, the boat was really in great shape. Good for kind of the weekend trips and shorter sails here and there. But with our plans of going longer distances and really covering some ground on it and being off the grid, it was a lot of add-ons just to be sustainable. All the rigging, the masts, everything came down, and we really went through that and had some repairs, just making sure it's structurally sound. The big one that I kind of felt like was the primary platform for everything was the electrical system. The solar is going to tie into that, the refrigeration, just the efficiency of how long we can be unattached to a dock. We pretty much stripped every piece of wire out of it and kind of started from scratch.
Kyle likes to say that I'm like the nester and I squirrel things away. So personally, I really enjoy the aesthetic portion of it and making it feel like home.
The vessel is a tool for us just to really get to remote spots and see parts of the world that you can't drive to and you can't get to in any other way. Definitely intend to be very rarely at a marina. We love being on the anchor, and the places that it takes us in most remote spots, you're not going to be anywhere near a proper marina. I was flying F-16s for the military. Pretty tied to that job, or that took a lot of time to kind of manage that and stay current in the airplane and fulfill my duties there. Eventually I just realized that I had other interests. Kind of made a decision to leave that, and that freed us up on a lot of time. I'm currently an airline pilot, and that's just very conducive for us to manage the time and maximize our time off. Choosing to live in a rather small home and work during the summers and try to make as much money as we can there and live frugally while we're doing it, and then just roll that into being on the sailboat.
I struggled with it a bit. I think when we first started talking about doing this, I had a really good job that I worked really, really hard for, and I was working my way up the corporate ladder, and that was really hard for me to be able to just embrace that my passion had changed. The day I turned in my resignation letter was the easiest and the hardest day I had at that company. But I walked out of that office like with this huge weight off my shoulders, so that's how I knew it was the right decision.
Come September 1st here, that's kind of our deadline to race the winter months. We're gonna work our way through the Great Lakes and then out the Erie Canal and then down through the Hudson River, which will spit us out in New York right by the Statue of Liberty. And our plan is to kind of run down the East Coast, in and out of the Intercoastal Waterway there, down to Norfolk. And from Norfolk, we're looking to go offshore and direct to the BVIs. We don't really have a huge plan at that point of where exactly we're going to end up, but I've got to be back at work in April, so we're looking to find a spot that's safe for the boat and out of harm's way of all the hurricanes and all the nasty weather that's in the summer there, and have the boat hauled out and stored on land, and then basically pick up where we left off the following year. So the intent is to be living on the boat 6 months out of the year throughout the winters, and then kind of continue to explore and continue to move while we have the opportunities in the winters.
This isn't necessarily the life for everyone. Doing something like this requires such a huge level of trust. And I would think that's probably the biggest thing that's maybe brought us closer, or just more aware of each other and our own spaces. Knowing how to communicate and when, and that it is okay to be scared or frustrated. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's really established a pretty cool trust bond.
Don't be tied by whatever would be considered the norms in society. Value and time over money is really important to me, and just living life to the fullest and taking care of those that are around you, and hopefully sharing in some of those fun times with those people.